Hey, Grandpa Photographer here. I'm laughing because I'm just thinking about how many things there are to know about working with babies. It's like hundreds of things. I don't think of them. I don't have a list of things. You know what triggers me is when I go onto Facebook or I see different posts about how people are having difficulties with something. And one of the things that triggered me this week was somebody that couldn't get the baby to smile. And she made a comment, and she's, good photographer, and pictures were okay, but she couldn't get the baby to smile, and she's like saying, well, that's their problem as parents, it's not my thing about, and I'm like, okay, well, but part of it, I mean, if we can get a child to give a good expression, that's really a feather in our cap. And the way I worked was that we had to get kids to have good expressions because we wanted to sell more. Does that make sense? In other words, today, the way most of you are working is you get a certain amount, $50, $100, $1,000, whatever it is, and then you shoot a bunch of shots and you give them to them. What we did was, and I say we, it was the entire industry. We would take pictures and then show them approvals, is what we would call them. Proofs was another word that we used, where people would then look at them and they could ooh and ah because we were doing exceptional work. And then they would buy extras. We would sell them extras. How would we sell them? Because a lot of people say, look, I'm not a salesperson. Pictures sell themselves. You just have a price list and you talk about, you have conditioning statements. I call them romance statements that talk about how special the age the baby is. And it's a oncer, as we call it. We have so many little statements. It was just great to be able to sit there and within, I don't know, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, you've got yourself a $300, $400, $500, $600, $800 sale. But also, you have happy people that feel like they're getting something very, very special. Today, from what I can see, a lot of the complaints that people are having is they just don't like the work. In other words, they're not 100% satisfied. And so, and the other thing was about when somebody was holding the baby, they held the baby and they're posing with the family. Because, sometimes you'll do an infant pose and they want a shot of the parents with the holding the baby, and so you let them hold the baby. Well, you couldn't see the baby's face. And so the mom was holding the baby, and of course, it's a bundle of joy, but it's also a bundle of responsibility, and you're trying to protect that baby from every little thing. So you want to keep them safe, so you want to hold them close to you, and you want to make sure that they're not going to fall, and they're very secure. And so it did not give a good family picture without seeing the baby's face. Well, we conquered that a long time ago. But unfortunately, since most of the photographers, most of the studios went out of business years ago, it's very, very difficult to learn these things. Who's going to pass them on to you other than somebody like myself who's had years in the business? And now I'm just trying to pass on what I know or what I did. And if you want to use it, fine. If not, that's okay too. But with the baby, very, very simple. Now, a little baby, I have my little doll here. And this is basically a life-size doll. And most people, when you hold a baby, they go like this. And they hold the baby, they want to make sure it's secure, but then when you look at the clothes and everything, and what this one person was saying with a situation like this is, can anybody help me and kind of fix this? Like, crop this? Because they didn't know how to crop it. But also you have the face, you're just seeing part of the baby's face. And then sometimes people put the baby on their lap. And when they hold the baby on their lap, it's the same thing. They put the hand here. They want to make sure that baby doesn't go anywhere, and so they've got the baby very secure, whether it's here or here in the middle between the parents if dad's on the other side. But this is what you have, this big hand like this. And one easy way, what I did, or what I do when I work with a baby, is first of all I check the clothing to make sure the clothing is very secure. And then I have dad or mom just pinch the clothing back here, like this, and put their hand like this under the baby's butt, and then you can put the baby up next to them like that. Or if you want to work from this side, if the lighting's better, you would do the same thing on this side, and you have a cute picture. So now it's the same thing if the baby's on the lap, they can hold the material. And the thing about this is when you hold this, you check the clothing, the baby is not going to go anywhere, and you're going to find parents, they don't trust it even when they know. You have to really walk them through this. Or what I did is walk them through this. I would sit the baby on their lap, I'd get them to hold it, and then I would put their hand here and say, look, if the baby moves, you just move your hand up here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's very, very simple. But it's one little thing could change the way, could change the look of all your baby photography when you're doing families. And this works on, when you have kids that are 2 years old and they want to pose with parents, you stand the parents up and you put the child in between. Two of them have the hand under. It's kind of cute. And then somebody's got their hand back here like this, and they're holding the baby. Or child at that point, toddler. It's just so simple. But, and I find that posing babies, this is one of the many little things, and I can't think of them. And that's why I would ask you all to keep posting on your photo groups. I monitor them and I read them and I respond to them sometimes too, but it's so hard to respond because there's sometimes 80 or 90 responses, and some of them are silly because people will ask a question and you get so many opinions. Like people say, well, geez, is this too much? Should I be charging? I've been doing this. What is my value? And I always go back to, it's hard to explain this on a post, but the pre-sell. Get a little something up front and then go in and take the pictures and then show them right afterwards and sell them. So you're not going to take 300 or 400 pictures. You're going to take 30, 40, 50. You're going to go out to I went out to my car and I just downloaded them into my laptop and I just did a couple of crops. I did, and then I would lighting 1, 2, 3, and that was basically it. And so I go in and show the pictures, and I would tell them these are still a little rough. I'm still going to make corrections, but they would ooh and they would ah because I would get expressions and photos that are just beautiful. And you will too. And something else about this, like sometimes a mom or dad, they want the baby to be up here cheek to cheek. Let me do it over here. I think the lighting's better, as I said before. But cheek to cheek is what could be cuter than this? And the baby's going to move, but that's okay. Cheek to cheek. Dad on one side, mom on the other side. It's just beautiful stuff. And look at this baby, how cute, how realistic it is. And again, you want to build a business? If you want to get sittings, switch to the way you're working. Do a little something up front, and then sell on the back end, we called it, the back end, which is after everything is done, you're showing them the pictures, you pull out your price list, you pull out your samples. It's the way it was done for decades and decades and decades, and it still works very, very well. So, Grandpa Photographer here. A little something interesting, huh? All right, see you again next time.